Good afternoon, everyone. I want to go ahead and call the meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee to order. Before we get started with the agenda today, I do want to just make a couple of brief announcements. I would like to thank all council members that were able to attend the fairground tours that were held just recently. I do want to let all council members know that in lieu of the presentation of the Fairground Master Plan, the Budget and Finance, we're going to work with the Codes, Farmers Market Committee and Fair Committee to schedule a planning session for next steps and try to really have a think tank about what we want to do as a council in regards to the fairgrounds, and we will work in concert with Council Lady Sandra Moore in putting that together. That will probably most likely be planned after we pass the budget for this year, so sometime either late June or early July for that meeting in regards to the Fairground Master Plan and the follow-up. So just be on the lookout for that. I also want to thank Council Lady Megan Berry for filling in during the last Budget and Finance meeting due to my absence. So thank you, Council Lady Berry. She did do an outstanding job of keeping Councilman Tiger in order. All right, we'll go right into the agenda. First item is RS 2013-640. Sponsors are Jernigan and Bennett, and we do have a letter from Councilmember Jernigan. Accepts certain incomplete infrastructure located within Phase 1 of the River Landing subdivision. It's been properly moved and seconded. Councilman Tiger.
Who can address how we got into this situation in the first place with an incomplete infrastructure and whatnot?
I don't see anybody from planning here yet. No, he's here. He's in the back. Yeah.
I'm Bob Lehman with Metro Planning. This is one of the several incomplete infrastructure subdivisions that's out there. It was caused by the expiration of a letter of credit. We did pursue this. Metro Legal did pursue this at the with litigation, and some of that money was collected through litigation. Of $54,000 was collected through litigation, but there remains to be about $489,000 worth of incomplete infrastructure.
In theory, a developer posts a letter of credit or puts up a bond for it, the complete build out to cover this type of occurrence. Was a mistake made? How was the letter of credit allowed to expire without Metro?
Mistakes were made. There was a series of occurrences, I think, that happened during this process. There was a performance bond audit that was done by the finance department that looked at the whole performance bond process, and since then, about 2008, we have gone back to redo the entire process for how we handle those bonds, including creating a new database tracking system in Kiva, better oversight. We've increased the level of people that are monitoring the performance bonds at Metro Planning. It used to be more of an administrative position, and now that has been upgraded to a planner level position. And currently it's just a more professional level position that's monitoring those, and since 2007 we've had no issues with that. So since then there's been a whole series of things that's been done to correct the problems that were in place. Okay,
thank you. There's a statement in our analysis that Metro has the option of charging the future lot owner $6,000 per lot in assessments to be used toward the infrastructure completion cost, which obviously would help lower Metro's contribution. Who makes that decision on exercising the option?
That would be up to the property owner of each individual lot. And that's the way that amount was determined was based on the $54,000 that was collected from the litigation that Metro Legal pursued. The number of lots that those folks owned at the time, when you average that out for the number of lots they had, it came out to about $6,000 per lot that they had to pay, and so that's how we came up with that number for the remaining lots.
So you're saying this is a voluntary action by a developer who's going to say, oh, I feel really good about this, I'm going to add $6,000 to my lot cost?
I believe that's correct.
Could I get a comment from John or the administration on that?
No, no, that's sorry, I turned the wrong one.
All right, there we go. The 21 lots in question are owned, I think they're all owned by a bank at this point. There is a building permit hold on all of the lots, meaning whether this infrastructure is built out or not, the lot owner will not be able to get a building permit to put anything there. So this is essentially, if they pay the $6,000 amount, then the building permit hold will be released. That's the idea anyway.
So your explanation is this is not a voluntary action, this is a required action.
It is a negotiating tool that Metro is using to try and get these subdivisions complete and get these building permit holds released.
There's no leeway in this. This is ironclad. The bank to sell this lot, to develop this lot, will be required to pay this $6,000 in to release this.
Well, I mean, it's ultimately, I guess it would be the planning department that would, in working and negotiating with the banks, would make that decision. I mean, keep in mind we're not on the best footing here. You know, I mean, as Bob said, mistakes were made, and the letters.
Well, why wouldn't we require this $6,000 as a term of agreement to be?
Well, I think it would be as a term of agreement with the lot owner in order to get the building permit released. Is that right, Bob?
I can speak to it.
Susan can speak to it.
Okay. Councilman Tiger, the state law allows for, in some instances, there to be an assessment made for situations such as this. We have to go through the requirements under the state law in order to exercise that option. In some instances, that could require council action under the state law to adopt that procedure that would allow for the assessments to be made. We happen to have someone who is an owner of, I think Mr. Cooper had it correctly, about 21 lots, who is a bank who has already agreed to do that, is my understanding. As far as the other individual lot owners, if that option is exercised by Metro and pursued in accordance with what the state law would require, then perhaps that's something that we could explore. But as of right now, it's somewhat, I don't want to say on a voluntary basis, but because there is some state law that would authorize us to exercise it in that manner. But right now, we have people who have already agreed to do that. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Has an analysis been done of the cost of lots, the people that have bought in that subdivision previously and are residents there, or nearby subdivisions, comparable subdivisions? Would this $6,000 make the lot comparable to these other subdivisions, or would it make it more or less?
That's an interesting question. I would have to yield to someone from the planning department to determine whether or not that assessment has been made. It has not been done by legal.
The $6,000 amount, it's my understanding, is a result of a either mediation or arbitration that Metro had sued the previous developers. The developer entity was an LLC, which dissolved, and so Metro pursued I think it was three of the principals of that LLC, tried to pierce the corporate veil and go after them individually. This settlement was released as a result of the mediation or arbitration, and the $6,000 lot amount is what these private citizens who were the former developers paid out of their own pocket. So that's how they got to the $6,000 amount.
But there are some homeowners already in this subdivision that bought.
Yes.
What did they pay average price per lot?
I don't know what the lot price, I mean,
I think it's just fair. You know, I know there's been ups and downs. I'm trying to weigh the interest of those poor homeowners that have undeveloped lots and undeveloped infrastructure versus the cost to you and me, the taxpayer, to subsidize what should be a development cost. So if the $6,000 is a reasonable figure, negotiated and fair and passes all the smell tests, what steps should we take to make sure that we comply with state law and this is a figure that is not arbitrary but mandatory?
I think it depends on the specific situation. I mean, all these subdivisions have been different. The level of infrastructure that needed to be completed has been different. So I'm not sure that you could do a cookie cutter one amount for, you know, all these that are in that situation.
But what about in just this subdivision?
Well,
if these 21 lots at this bank is agreed, yeah, we think $6,000 is a fair figure. Now we've got those 21 out of the way and there's X number of lots left that may or may not pay comparable figures. I mean, to me, if I'm a prospective home buyer in this subdivision, why would I buy one of these 21 lots? I'll wait for somebody else to bite the bullet and I'll get a $6,000 discount on the next one.
I could be wrong, but I think these are the 21 undeveloped lots that remain in the subdivision.
Okay.
So all the rest of them, the homes have been built out.
Okay, so it takes care of. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Tiger. Seeing no one else in the queue, I'll call the question. All in favor? All opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2013-651, sponsors Matthews, approves the new approves the new 4-year plan for reappraisal and equalization of assessment for Davidson County. Second. Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2013-652, sponsors Matthews, approves an annual grant of $29,866 from the Tennessee Arts Commission to the Metro Arts Commission for the Arts Build Communities program. Second. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Assessor Rooker is sitting out there. If you want to just acknowledge that he was here on that previous.
Okay. All opposed? Seeing none, resolution passes. On the previous resolution, RS 2013-651, I do want to recognize that Assessor Rooker is here. He was here to speak to us about reappraisals, and just want to remind council members to remind your constituents about reappraisals and any meetings that may be happening in or near your district. So, thank you for that. RS 2013-653, sponsors Matthew. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Allen, did you have a comment?
I thought since you brought up Mr. Rooker, maybe I could ask one question.
Go right ahead.
If I can back up. Can you explain, it looked like that assessment happened over a 4-year period, a quarter of the county at a time, but my understanding from the meetings is that you're doing it all this year. Can you explain that?
Yeah, the visual inspection process occurs during the first 3 years of the reappraisal cycle. So we spend our first 3 years actually doing visual inspections of properties and looking and making sure our physical characteristics are accurate and up to date. Then we do the model building and the final evaluation in the last year.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rick. All right. RS 2013-653, sponsors Matthews, approves an agreement between the United States government and the Metro Fire Department to allow the fire department to bill Medicare for ambulance services. Been properly moved. Do I have a second? Seconded. In discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2013-654, sponsors Matthews, Bennett, and Langster, approves an application for a state grant of $240,000 to the Metro Police Department for the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Been properly moved. Seconded. In discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2013-655, sponsors Matthews, approves a grant of $20,800 from the Tennessee Literacy Coalition to the Community Education Commission for a full-time AmeriCorps program participant to assist in building volunteer capacity. It's been properly moved. Do I have a second? It's properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2013-656, sponsors Weiner, Matthews, and Leinster, approves an annual state grant of $518,500 to the Metro Board of Health for implementation of the state immunization program. Been properly moved. Do I have a second? Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2013-657, sponsors Weiner Matthews, approves an amendment to a state grant to the Metro Action Commission to provide services to help low-income and/or homeless individuals achieve self-sufficiency by awarding $252,185.24 in additional funds. Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2013-658, sponsors Weiner Matthews and Leinster, approves an amendment to a federal grant to the Board of Health for the Healthy Start Initiative, authorizing the Board of Health to carry over $64,248 in unobligated funds from the previous grant. Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2013-659, sponsors Weiner Matthews and Leinster, approves a federal grant of $1,708,433 to the Board of Health to enhance access to community-based care for low-income individuals and families with HIV. Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2013-660, sponsors S. Davis, Potts, and others, approves an agreement between Metro Water Services and the Metro Development and Housing Agency for stormwater improvements in the Haynes Park and Manor Place neighborhoods. Been properly moved and seconded. In discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2013-661, sponsors Matthews, approves an agreement between the Metro government and the U.S. Department of the Army for Phase 4 of a flood preparedness study. Properly moved and seconded. In discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2013-662, sponsors Potts and Matthews, approves a joint funding agreement between the U.S. Department of the Interior, U.S. Geological Survey, and the Metro Water Services for the continued operation and upgrades of water quality monitors and flood warning gauges. Been properly moved and seconded. In discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2013-663, sponsors Potts and Matthews, approves a straight grant of $100,000 to the Metro Public Works for litter education. Been properly moved and seconded. In discussion? Councilman Tiger.
Has any decision been made as exactly how this money would be spent in educating the public about this?
I believe someone is here from Public Works. Ms. Frazier.
Yes, I'm Veronica Frazier with Metro Public Works and the Director of Metro Beautification. And in the grant application, Councilman Tiger, we had to specify what program, exactly how we would utilize this funding if we were to receive the grant, which we did.
Give us some ideas of some of the techniques that will be used.
We are, this is going to be an advertising campaign, and we're going to utilize billboards. We're targeting ages 18 through 30, males 18 through 30, the prime litterers in this country. And it's going to be in high school and college campuses, and we're going to have a campaign that is been implemented at other cities that was started by Keep America Beautiful, and it's called a Littering is Wrong advertising campaign.
Is there any partnership with the police department on the enforcement side?
We certainly hope so.
Comment from the administration on the certainly hope so?
We're against littering.
Amen.
Well, I'm getting more and more calls from citizens who are more and more distressed about this topic, is why that it's sort of hitting close to home. And I think Saturday the 27th of this month, I'm part of a crew that's going to walk some streets and pick up other people's trash, and you get tired of doing that. And, you know, you sit in an intersection and you watch people dump their ashtrays out and throw stuff out, and, you know, it's sort of like speeding in neighborhoods. You can say all you want about traffic calming, but the number one thing is enforcement, quite frankly. So that's why I sure hope that we can get a comment from the police department as to what efforts they see would be necessary to start cracking down on some of these folks.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to point out the hard work that our Public Works Department does, especially in my district and other districts in the area. And one thing, though, is I think this will help them, you know, continue their good efforts. And I'm in full support of the Public Works Department, and I'm in full support of them getting this grant. And they do a lot already in East Nashville, South Nashville, North and in West Nashville, and educating people on what they should throw away. Littering is bad. I'm all for any efforts to give them, you know, in any form, money, financial incentives, anything, because just like Councilman Tiger, I get a lot of calls every day as far as litter, but they are very good at addressing those issues. Sometimes when they call, they're out there immediately getting the trash up, getting furniture out of alleyways. So once again, I'm in full support of them getting and allocating this money to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Davis. Councilor Berry.
Thank you, Chair. I had a question, and I'm not sure who to direct this to, but I thought at one time there was a program, perhaps either at the metro level or the state level, that if you did see somebody litter, you could copy down their license plate and call a phone number, and they would at least get a letter in the mail that said, somebody saw you littering. I mean, there's no fine or anything, but at least it's a reminder, especially around cigarette butts. That was the big thing. Does anyone know if that is a program that still exists, or?
Ms. Frazier, you stepped out for Councilor Berry's question, but she asked if, Councilor Berry, do you mind repeating
Sure.
that for
Ms. Frazier, my understanding is there used to be a program, either at the state level or the metro level, that if you saw somebody litter, or especially cigarette butts, you could write down their license and then call that number, and then they would be issued at least a letter saying, somebody saw you litter at the corner of so-and-so on this date. I mean, there was no penalty or anything. It was just a gentle reminder that actually littering is bad. Does that exist?
It's still in place, and we still send out those letters, and it is an education effort. And reminding folks that someone was seen littering, tossing trash out or cigarette butt at whatever time of day it was, and we remind them of the Tennessee state litter law when we send out that letter.
So, Ms. Frazier, if I saw somebody do that, what would be the process that I would need to do to make that letter happen?
You can go online and email us.
Okay.
And when you go to Public Works website, Metro Beautification, it's real easy. You're 3 clicks away from sending that in.
Okay, great. And I would just need the license plate number and the
correct
time of day and the intersection where I saw it happen.
Correct.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Councilor Berry. Councilman Hunt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a piece of legislation that I fully endorse, and I just finished talking to a member of the mayor's staff about this, because this problem is bad, and I mean it's bad all over the city. And I support what the Public Works in this bill is going to do, but we're trying to figure out a way how can we enhance it to get people's attention, because right now I think the most you can find of people throwing on the ground is $50. That was set by the states 100 years ago, and it's not kept up with the pace. So one of the things I suggest that we do maybe a resolution to the state to ask them to increase the fine, because nothing's going to happen unless we make this thing hurt. And I have no problem with kicking them up to about $500. And also, if it's possible to add what you're talking to, Council Lady, is to add a whistleblower component to it if they had the correct information to prove the case, and they maybe get a couple $100 out of the $500 fine. Something's got to be done. It's not a day past that I don't get a call about trash, and I think it's wrong for us to have to come around and police up around grown people who don't have any more respect for the community they live in, so they should be able to pay about a $500 fine, and maybe more if they keep doing it. So I support that, and I am going to introduce a resolution to the state to ask them to increase that fine.
Thank you, Councilman Hunt. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Resolution passes. RS 2013-664, sponsors Matthews, authorizes the Department of Law to compromise and settle the personal injury claims of Ashley Parker on behalf of her minor daughter, Amaya Parker, for the amount of $9,245. Been properly moved, seconded. Any discussion? Councilman Tiger?
Could we get an explanation what a letter of concern is?
Law Department. Sheriff's Department.
Councilman, that's the first step of discipline when you have your first accident.
So is it just we acknowledge and you need to be careful type thing?
If that accident, leads to that, yes. The next will be a written reprimand. The next will be a 3-day suspension.
So it's a 3-tiered process?
Right. Then your driving privilege is removed.
Thank you.
All right, sir.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Resolution passes. We're now on to bills on second reading. BL 2013-404, sponsors Claiborne, designates Music Valley Drive between Rudy Circle and Pennington Bend Road as Frank Rudy Memorial Road. Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Bill passes. BL 2013-405, sponsors Moore, Matthews, and Claiborne, approves a sublease agreement between the Metro government and STEM Preparatory Academy for the use of a portion of the Tennessee Preparatory School campus located at 1250 Foster Avenue. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Bill passes. BL 2013-407, sponsors Todd, Gilmore, and Matthews, authorizes the Director of Public Property Administration to accept the donation of 25.5 acres of property from CRLP Bellevue, LLC, and Colonial Properties Incorporated to be used as parts of the park system. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Bill passes. Upon conclusion, I would just like to announce that the joint meeting of Budget and Finance and the Health, Hospital, and Social Services Committee has been postponed. That was to be held at 5:30 today. Council Lady Winter had the passing of her father, so we want to extend our condolences to her. But that meeting will be postponed, and you will be notified upon rescheduling. So thank you all, and this meeting is adjourned.